this talking continues through the quiz, we're going to get some points off. If not, thrown in the trash. Okay? Alright, are we ready on the opener?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing, and I gave you a pointer at the beginning of this, is to label the ordered pairs at the top. I saw a couple of people in here and throughout the day labeled it x1, x2. But is this spot ever an x variable?
No.
It's a y. So this is x1, y1. And this is x2, y2. That's because it's the second pair of the two. What's up?
Pretty sure this pen's this.
Okay. Hey, Eliza. Put that away, please.
This is your pen?
Okay. And then we...
Bill.
Just hold on to it, John. Thank you. And then we're going to look at this equation up here, and we're going to plug these numbers into the equation. So m means slope. I'm going to write m equals, and then my fraction bar, and the minus signs on the top and the bottom. Tamara, can you tell me what goes first? What's the top look like?
You got 2.
Mm-hmm.
0.
Right. So 2, y2, right? And y1. And then what's the bottom going to look like?
On the bottom, you have 7 minus 3.
Perfect. What's 2 minus 0? Anybody?
Oh,
2.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
It's okay. What's 7 minus 3? 4. Good. Okay, I saw a couple of people got 2 over 4 as their answer for slope, but that is incorrect because it's not simplified. What goes in
2.
to 2 and 4? Yep, 2. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 2. So it becomes 1/2. Thank you, Tamara. So on your quiz, if you leave your answer as 2 over 4, it's wrong. Okay? It always needs to be simplified. Does anyone have a question on that? Like the, what? Okay.
He's speaking out.
Shh. Okay, so I'm going to label this again. And I would recommend doing this on your quiz for every problem just so you don't mix up your numbers. Alright. Morgan, can you do the top for me?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like?
6 minus -2.
Nope.
Oh, no, it's not. Oh, y2?
Y2 minus Y1. So what's Y2?
I know I had that right. 6. I mean, Lord Jesus.
-2. Mm-hmm. And what's Y1?
6.
Right. Way to recover. What's the bottom look like?
3
Mm-hmm.
minus 9.
Perfect. Okay, what's -2 minus 6?
-8.
What's 3 minus 9?
-6.
-6. Does anyone remember what happens to these negatives? Since there's a negative, they become positives.
You're not supposed to put the negative on the bottom.
Well, there's a negative on the top and the bottom. So they just cancel out because a negative number divided by a negative number is a positive number. So I'm just going to cross out those. And this is still not the answer because it's what? Not simplified. What goes into 8 and 6?
2.
So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 2. What's 8 divided by 4?
4.
6 divided by 2?
You said 8 divided by 4. You said the answer 8 divided by 4.
I thought she said the
Okay, what's 6 divided by 2?
3.
3. So my answer is 4 over 3. Good.
So we're going to always divide by 2.
No, not always, because if actually the next one we're going to see an example where you're not dividing by 2 to simplify. Okay. So go ahead and label x1, y1, x2, y2. John, can you help me out with this one?
yeah.
John 2. Sorry, Jonathan.
-5.
Sorry, just a second. Yep, -5.
Parentheses, -8, parentheses.
And the bottom?
-3 minus parentheses, -2.
Okay. And remember when we see a minus sign next to a negative sign, what happens?
You circle it because it's dirty,
Okay?
bad thing.
And we're going to make it a plus sign.
Yep.
And then the same thing on the bottom because they're doing the same thing. So it becomes an addition problem. What's negative 5 plus 8?
3,
Good. And negative 3 plus 2?
-1.
All right. And what's wrong with this one? Oh, you can't see it anymore. I'm going to write this over. Oh, it was just slow. Okay. What was that?
Negative on the bottom.
Negative on the bottom. And all I'm going to do for that is just move it to the top. Negative 3 over 1. Okay? Is everyone following?
Yeah.
Jalen, I thought your question was going to be answered that time. It was not. If our slope looks like, one second, like this, if m equaled 9 over 3, how would you simplify that one? What number goes into both 9 and 3? 3, yeah.
Thank you. What's her name?
So that's an example of when you wouldn't divide by 2 when you're simplifying. What's 9 divided by 3? 3. And 3 divided by 3? 1. So
Thank you, Smurf.
you guys didn't need to write that down. It was just
Show us something.
an example. Okay, go ahead and flip over to the back.
Go to the back right now.
This is hard.
Start on the bed.
It's not hard. It just looks different than what we're used to. Morgan and Jalen.
Is this
No, he said flip to the back. I'm telling him I was already on the bed.
Okay, so this looks different because usually we have like a full worksheet with 3 separate graphs with a line on each of those graphs. This is basically merging all 3 into one. Okay, so it's the same problems that you did last week, just it looks different. Okay, so does anyone remember what the equation is when we're trying to find the slope when we have the line in front of us? Based on your notes, does anyone remember? So we dealt with m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's the really simple equation that we worked with last week? Slope equals
Slopes.
rise over?
rise over run. Nice. So I'm going to write that at the top so that I remember the order. Rise over run. And remember, you are allowed to use your notes for the quiz a lot. You can find exactly how to do it right in your notes.
Would this be on the quiz right
Mhm.
here?
Yep. Morgan asked if this was going to be on the quiz. It is. So for rise over run, when we're trying to find the slope, when we've been given the line, what do we do first? John Barella, get your head up, please. Do you remember? What's the first step in finding the slope in the line when it's given to us? It tells you right in your notes, if you have them out. It starts with an L. You find the what? Yep.
Mine said.
What is it?
No, line said. No. Line
Line
said.
said.
I was about to say line said.
Jonathan, it should be written right in front of you. Lattice points. We find the lattice points. Good try on the la's.
I was trying to see if I can. I'm trying to pronounce it.
Okay, so for line A, we're going to work with this first. I'm going to tell you the first lattice point that I see is right here. A lattice point is where a vertical line, a horizontal line, and then the graphed line all intersect in one point. Okay? And the next closest lattice point is right there. Another lattice point is here, but it's further away, and you're gonna have to simplify if you find a far one like that. So I'm just gonna deal with this one. Can someone tell me what the rise over run is for line A? Take a guess, or
It's it's -3.
mm-mm.
No, it's not.
So Morgan, you are right. It is negative. We can always know, and I would recommend doing this at the beginning, writing a negative sign when you see that the line itself is negative, even before you see the slope. So remember, we read left to right, right?
Yeah.
You're also going to read your line left to right. So I'm starting on the left side and going to the right, and that's going down, right? So it's a negative slope. And I'm going to go down 1, right there, and we're doing rise over run. So that's going to be the -1. And what's the run? Can somebody tell me? +2. So it's +2 because we went right 2. When you go right on a graph, it's positive. When you go up on a graph, it's positive, but we went down, so it's a -1 over a +2 because you went right. So the slope for line A is -1/2, and that's all you have to do for that. Okay? You don't have to write this in. You do need to circle your lattice points, but you don't have to write these arrows, but it might help you count. Okay? So line B, Kaylin, do you want to point out to me where a lattice point is? You can either tell me the ordered pair or you can come up and point at it. Anybody? Anyone know where the lattice point is? Do you remember what a lattice point is? Yeah, it's the little circles. It's where a vertical, a horizontal, and then the graphed line all intersect. So this can't be a lattice point because the vertical line isn't going through it. This is a lattice point because we've got all 3 lines going through it. This isn't because there's only the horizontal and the graphed line, right? Okay? So this is our first lattice point, and then this is the next one, okay? John, number 1, can you tell me what the slope is?
2
Mm-hmm.
and 1.
2 over 1. Perfect. So the way that he found that, he started at the first lattice point, and he went up 2 and over 1. So the action of going up is the rise, and then over 1 is the run. Jalen? Okay. Line C. Who wants to do this last one? You want to? What are you putting your hand up for? Morgan wants to.
Morgan don't want to do it.
Can someone tell me where a lattice point is?
John, brother. What? Hold up.
John, what is?
Go ahead, Tamara.
Wait, the lesson is?
Lattice point. Yep.
It's like
So
3 and a
push up
half.
the
It's like when it's like under the sea. What am I right? Okay.
Right there?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Good. Perfect. Okay. Where's the other one? I mean, there's more than one, but Morgan, you want to tell me?
Yeah. Let's see. So wouldn't it be right there? Like,
I got it. Right there on the
wouldn't it be like right here?
Nope.
No. Like,
oh,
Nope.
10.
I feel like this is where the lines are
No,
crossed.
sure.
It's where all 3 lines meet. So those points that you just pointed out, you said right here, right? Right there. There's only 2 lines:
Oh, yeah,
the
there's only
horizontal
2
line
lines.
and the graph line. But this would, yep,
Yeah.
because you got the horizontal, vertical, and the graph. Okay. Thank you, Morgan. All right, for this one, this is a positive slope because the line's going up from left to right. How many are we going up? Morgan, can you tell me?
We're going up. I can't see, bro. Going up 3?
Mm-hmm. Up 3.
That's terrible. Mirror. 10.
And then what's the run?
4. I just said that in my head.
Weird way of
I
saying
didn't
it, but that's right. It's 3 over 4. It's because we started at the leftmost lattice point, and we want to do that because we read left to right. So, and you went up 3, that's your rise, and we went over 4, that's your run. Does anyone have any questions before we take the quiz? Because it sounds like you might have a few.
No.
Yes,
You,
I don't know which line are negative.
you don't know which lines are negative? Okay, that's a good question. So line A is the only negative one on this coordinate plane, because when you look at the lines going from left to right, the line's going down.
Okay.
Down is negative. Now when you look at B and you go left to right, it's going up,
Which is positive.
which is positive. And C, left to right, is going up again. Does that make sense? But again, A, from left to right, you're going down, so that's a negative. You have a question?
Can you have numerator and denominator negatives?
No. So, John just asked, can you have a numerator and a denominator negative? So if your answer looks like this, -5 over -7, you're going to cross those out, and it's just going to become a +5 over 7. And that's because, if say that you had to simplify, like 5 divided by 7, which I know you can't do, that is simplified. But when you take a negative number divided by a negative number, what is it? Positive number. So that's why you can just cross out those negatives like that. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Nobody? You feel prepared?
Yes. No.
I really want to use the bathroom, but I don't want to use the school.
Kaylin, do you have a question that would help clarify?
No.
Okay. Then go ahead and pass your openers to the front and over to Annette, please. Annette.